Oh man, Mr. Wizardly, I'm feeling rather down.
Why, my good fellow?
Because Blood Hunter could be such a good class, but it just isn't. It has so many options in character creation, but it locks you into only having one of them for like 5 levels at a time. So you're stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again. The amount of hit points that you lose when you use the Amplify mechanic is completely random, so it's not like you can plan around it. You just sort of throw it out there and pray that you get a low number. But sometimes you lose a huge chunk of your hit points, and there was nothing you could have done to hedge against it.
Yes, I know the feeling.
Most of the subclasses are bad, except for Lycan, which is completely broken. But given that the rest of the class is kinda lackluster, Lycan sorta needs to be busted to keep up with the other players in your party.
From the way you're talking, it sounds like you could have watched my top 6 problems with the Blood Hunter video.
Man, Blood Hunters could be so cool, you know? They've got such awesome flavor. I love playing an edgelord.
I can tell. I'm exactly the same way.
I just want to play a Blood Hunter that's good. If only there was one simple thing I could do to fix its problems.
There is.
Huh? What are you talking about? Are you stupid, Mr. Wizardly? It's too complex a problem to solve in one simple step.
Ah, but that's where you're wrong. The one simple step that you need to take is simply clicking the link down in the description box below and downloading your free PDF. I've literally done all of the work for you that fixes everything.
Really? You did all that? For me?
Of course, my friend. You can count on me. Like, share, hit the bell for notifications, and subscribe, and I'll never leave your side. Now, let me show you a few of the big changes. You can read the rest for yourself. First up, better starting equipment.
Huh? A book of curses?
What is this? You're gonna find out. Just you wait. Anyway. Hunter's Bane. It was a ribbon ability, it still is a ribbon ability, but now it's slightly better, because it also targets Celestials. Yes, Matt, you are well aware that Celestials can be evil too, and I combined it with the mechanical part of Grim Psychometry to make it slightly more useful.
But if that's been moved here, then what about your 9th level feature?
There's a new one, but for now, look over there. See what I've done to Blood Maledict?
Wait, what on earth? Mr. Wizardly, why have you made Blood Hunters into wizards?
Because it's in my name, darling. Oh, actually, it's because it's cool, and in keeping with the Blood Hunter's arcane flavoring. You get a book of curses with 6 blood curses of your choice in it at first level, and you can add a blood curse to the book for free each time you level up. When you finish a long rest, you get to prepare a number of blood curses equal to half your Blood Hunter level plus your intelligence modifier, which are chosen out of the ones in your book. At level 1, this just means a number equal to your intelligence modifier. At level 2, it means your intelligence modifier plus 1, etc. Here's a handy chart. And what's more is that you can discover more blood curses while out adventuring. Maybe the evil necromancer has a few stuffed away in the books of his library. Maybe there is one that is inscribed onto the great stone door of an evil temple. Maybe there's a sword with a blood curse inscribed onto the blade. Go nuts, because just like with wizards, the DM can make this kind of hands-on arcane archaeological research really fun. You do also have to look after your book, of course, but they're relatively cheap to copy, and if you're a member of a knightly order, maybe they'll be able to help you out if you somehow lose yours in an accident somewhere.
But wait, Mr. Wizardly, there are only like 8 blood curses to choose from, plus the one from your subclass. Surely that's not enough for you to go discovering them.
Shh. There are now 36 of them to choose from.
Say what?
And that's not including the special use of your Blood Maledict that each subclass gets by level 7. You can look through all that in your own time, but even if you like nothing else that I've done, you can always steal those from me. You also have more Blood Maledict uses to play around with at earlier levels, which makes it more of a choice as to whether you want to use it without spending hit points to get the basic effect, whether you want to spend hit points to get the amplified effect, or whether you want to save it for later when you feel more able to spend hit points, or when when an opportunity to gain a more useful effect comes up. Now, you still only get 1 per short rest at first and second level, because we don't want a martial character that is overshadowing the full casters. But do not fear, young one, because there is another way, besides a short rest, to regain a use of your Blood Maledict. At all levels, you regain a use of it when you reduce another creature with blood in it to 0 hit points. So let's say that at level 1, you're Mr. Blood Hunter, out there hunting yo blood, you cast your blood curse. Oh no, I've got no more blood curses. Kill a guy. Yay! Now I can cast another blood curse. This simple little minigame will also make you quite kill hungry, which will add to the other characters in your party thinking that you're just a little bit weird, and maybe slightly uncomfortable about your, evil forbidden magic. Everyone gets their second Blood Maledict use at level 3, plus another Blood Maledict at level 6, level 11, and level 16. The upper end is roughly the same, but the lower end has had its quality of life improved dramatically. Next up, new Crimson Rites. You know how I complained in my previous video about the lack of choices? Well, now you learn 2 Crimson Rites right out of the gate. Fire and Cold. Only now, each of them has unique secondary effects. When you use fire, your weapon sheds dim light out to a range of 20 feet, and you ignite a flammable object that isn't being worn or carried that takes fire damage from the rite. Meanwhile, when you use cold, each creature that takes damage from the rite has their speed reduced by 10 feet, although this effect doesn't stack on the same target. Both are situationally useful, and you aren't locked into one particular choice. In addition, to go along with the theme of arcane research, there is technically a stash of secret Crimson Rites towards the back of my PDF that your Blood Hunter player might be able to discover if you drop it in as a special reward, but they don't come in as default options. At 14th level, you get access to the improved Crimson Rite feature. You get a unique and special Crimson Rite from your subclass, which replaces the esoteric rite that you used to choose in Matt's version at this level. This is a better damage type that significantly fewer creatures are resistant or immune to, with its own secondary effects. However, unlike before, it doesn't make your fire and cold rites obsolete, because in addition to the different secondary effects, as part of the improved Crimson Rite feature, you also gain resistance to the damage types of your active Crimson Rites. This creates a web of pros and cons depending upon which Crimson Rite you use, meaning that situationally each is a valid choice, a side grade from the others rather than a straight upgrade. Even though the new damage type is better for bypassing resistances, it is normally less useful at resisting damage because rarer damage types don't tend to come up as frequently. Fire and cold damage come up all the time, so they are more likely to give you a useful resistance. But on the flip side, more creatures are resistant and immune to them. This is also a subtle buff to dual-wielding characters who are more flexible about which rites they can use, as they can have up to 2 of them active at a time, and there will be times when having resistance to a damage type is better than having a shield out.
Wait, you said something about a new 9th level feature?
At 9th level, you get Secrets of the Ancients. This ribbon ability replaces the old, more vaguely defined ribbon ability of Grim Psychometry. I got the vibe that Matt was going for with this one, but it seemed a little bit weird and highly dependent on DM interpretation, so I don't think it works as well. As I already mentioned, I took the mechanical part of it and incorporated it into Hunter's Bane to buff that slightly. But the vision part I ditched because it is a non-mechanic. It's entirely narrative fluff, and the DM can already choose to ignore it. But by writing it down explicitly as a possibility in the mechanic, you are pushing the DM to make more work for themselves under the threat of the player feeling hard done by if they never get any visions when they use the ability. It's what Jeremy Crawford would call a Mother May I mechanic. A player's class features should be clear and give the player agency, not be woolly and vague and subject to DM fiat. It's also worth noting that the DM already has the ability to give arbitrary visions to anyone at any time for any reason, including using class flavor to justify it, and I actually encourage DMs to do so when they feel up to it, because when used correctly and sparingly, you can give the players some cool narrative insights that they couldn't get any other way, but players shouldn't feel entitled to getting them, certainly not through their class features directly. Secrets of the Ancients does something similar to this visions malarkey, but it is a much more clearly defined mechanic. Few wizards seem to even notice that the spell Contact Other Plane exists. It's buried under so many other good options. So this will be your thing most of the time. And like the wizard, you're also proficient in intelligence saves, so there's a good chance that your brain won't be melted when you use it. Just make sure to play up the creepy and spooky factor as the DM when your player uses that ritual, because blood hunters are tethered to the darkness, baby. Send their mind to the dark dimension, to the Shadowfell, to a floating astral prison, to the 9 hells, to some lair of evil. Make it feel dangerous and forbidding. Have them talk to shadow monsters, fiends, the souls of long-dead evil wizards. You could even have them talk to their otherworldly patron or one of their patron's agents if they're a profane soul, and if they happen to fail their saving throw and their brain turns to mush, describe like a horror scene what terrible psychic attack befalls them. You meet with the fiend, but it turns out that he isn't in the mood to talk, so he cuts off your astral body's head and impales it on a nearby pike that decorates his lair. But unlike with a physical body, you still maintain consciousness the whole time, and so you scream and scream and scream until your connection finally fades, and you return in a near catatonic state back to your trembling body, utterly traumatized, unable to even form coherent sentences. But don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll recover. Suck it up, edgelord. You asked for this by playing this class. If you want a much more complete breakdown of the changes I made to the base Bloodhunter class, you can find that in this much longer video, the link to which should appear up in the top right. To avoid retreading old ground, you can simply skip around a bit using the chapter markings or the timestamps that are down in the description of that video, as that will allow you to find me discussing topics that you might otherwise have missed, such as why you cannot choose Wisdom as your Hemocraft modifier, how Celestial fits in with the other Hunter's Bane creature types, the changes to Brand of Castigation, and the spooky mystery of Matt's missing 17th level class feature. Matt really done goofed with that one, and we haven't even gotten around to discussing the subclass changes yet, which I'll be covering in future videos. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss them when they come out. In the meantime, don't forget to download the free PDF in the description box down below. Take a look and let me know what you think in the comments section. I do my best to read every single comment that you leave. I'm a small enough channel that I can get away with it. If you like it, like the video. Also, thank you to my paid supporters, Son of Revan and John. My patrons get an exclusive sneak peek of what is coming next, as well as exclusive bonus content, such as a new Bloodhunter subclass that I'm working on. The Order of the Death Knight. It's a totally original concept, do not steal. I don't know what you're talking about when you say that you've seen it somewhere before. You're probably lying or mistaken or something. I totally came up with it all by myself. So that's all from me for now. This is Mr. Wizardly, signing off.